The great spiritual teacher Paramahansa Yogananda taught that fear and worry are among the most destructive forces in human life, capable of poisoning our peace, undermining our health, and blocking us from experiencing the divine joy that is our true nature. Throughout his teachings, he emphasized that happiness is not something we must chase or acquire from external circumstances, but rather a state of being that flows naturally when we remove the mental obstacles we have constructed. Among his profound insights, 3 fundamental thoughts stand out as transformative keys to dissolving fear and worry while establishing ourselves in permanent happiness. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, give me a like, comment below about your thought and hit subscribe button so you don't miss any video inspired by Yogananda's teaching. Thank you very much. The first essential understanding that Yogananda emphasized is that fear and worry exist only in the realm of imagination, never in the present moment of reality. When we examine our anxieties closely, we discover that they are always concerned with something that might happen in the future or something that happened in the past. The present moment itself, when we truly inhabit it, contains no fear. Yogananda taught that worry is nothing more than creative imagination misused, a perversion of our divine power to visualize and manifest. Instead of using our imaginative faculty to envision positive outcomes and divine possibilities, we torture ourselves with mental movies of disaster and failure that have no basis in current reality. This insight reveals something profound about the nature of consciousness itself. Our minds possess tremendous creative power, and whatever we consistently focus upon tends to manifest in our experience. When we worry, we are essentially praying for what we don't want, sending out powerful thought vibrations that attract the very circumstances we fear. Yogananda explained that thoughts are living forces, possessing magnetic properties that draw corresponding conditions into our lives. The chronic worrier is unknowingly working against their own well-being, using the divine power of thought to construct prisons of anxiety rather than palaces of peace. To break this destructive pattern, Yogananda taught the practice of present moment awareness combined with unwavering faith in divine protection. He encouraged his students to catch themselves whenever worry begins to arise and immediately redirect their attention to the reality of the present moment. In this very instant, right now, are you safe? Are your basic needs met? Is there any actual danger confronting you? Almost invariably, the answer is no. The present moment, when we truly experience it without the overlay of fearful thoughts, is fundamentally peaceful. By training ourselves to return again and again to present moment awareness, we starve the worry habit of the mental fuel it requires to survive. Furthermore, Yogananda taught that we must replace worry with its opposite. Faith in divine providence and the certainty that we are always protected by infinite intelligence. This is not blind faith or wishful thinking, but rather a recognition of the fundamental nature of reality. The same intelligence that orchestrates the movements of galaxies, that causes seeds to sprout and hearts to beat, is also guiding our lives. When we align ourselves with this divine intelligence through meditation, prayer, and right action, we place ourselves in the flow of grace where everything works together for our highest good. Worry is essentially a statement of atheism, a declaration that we are alone in a hostile universe with no higher power to guide and protect us. Faith, by contrast, is the recognition that we are children of the infinite, forever held in the loving embrace of divine consciousness. The second transformative thought that Yogananda offered for eliminating fear and establishing permanent happiness is the understanding that we are not our bodies, emotions, or circumstances, but rather immortal souls temporarily inhabiting physical forms. This realization completely transforms our relationship with everything we typically fear. Most of our anxieties revolve around threats to our physical existence, our social standing, our financial security, or our emotional comfort. But when we truly grasp that our essential nature is the eternal soul, indestructible and forever one with God, these concerns lose their power to disturb our peace. Yogananda taught that identification with the body and the ego personality is the root cause of all suffering. When we believe ourselves to be merely physical beings, we naturally fear anything that threatens the body's survival or comfort. Death becomes the ultimate terror, and we spend our lives in a futile attempt to avoid the inevitable. But through deep meditation and spiritual practice, we can experience directly that we are not the body but rather the consciousness that inhabits and observes the body. This consciousness, our true self, was never born and can never die. It existed before this body came into being and will continue to exist after this body returns to dust. This is not merely a philosophical concept to be intellectually accepted, but a living reality to be directly experienced through the practice of meditation. When we sit in deep stillness and withdraw our attention from the senses, we begin to experience ourselves as pure awareness, unbounded by the limitations of physical form. In these moments of expanded consciousness, fear simply cannot exist because we have transcended the limited identity that fear depends upon. We realize experientially that we are vast, eternal, and fundamentally invulnerable. The body may experience pain, circumstances may be challenging, but the true self remains forever untouched, like the sky that is never stained by the clouds that pass through it. Yogananda emphasized that this realization must be cultivated through daily meditation practice. It is not enough to simply read about our divine nature or intellectually accept it as true. We must experience it directly, repeatedly, until this higher identity becomes more real to us than our identification with the body and personality. As this shift occurs, we find that the things we once feared lose their power over us. We can face life's challenges with equanimity because we know that our essential being cannot be harmed. We can even face death without terror because we understand it to be merely a transition, a changing of clothes, not the extinction of our consciousness. Moreover, this understanding naturally gives rise to compassion and love for all beings. When we recognize that the same divine consciousness that animates our body also animates every other living thing, we see all of life as one family. The apparent separation between self and other is revealed as an illusion. This recognition dissolves not only fear but also hatred, jealousy, and all the negative emotions that arise from the false sense of being a separate, isolated entity competing with others for limited resources. Instead, we experience the joy of unity, the happiness that comes from recognizing our fundamental oneness with all existence. The third essential teaching that Yogananda offered for transcending fear and establishing permanent happiness is the practice of filling our consciousness with divine love and joy through meditation, devotion, and service. He taught that consciousness is like a vessel that will be filled with something, and we have the power to choose what fills it. If we allow our minds to remain passive and reactive, they will naturally fill with whatever impressions come from our environment and our habitual thought patterns, which for most people means a mixture of worries, desires, regrets, and random mental chatter. But through spiritual practice, we can actively fill our consciousness with the highest qualities, divine love, peace, and joy. Yogananda placed special emphasis on the cultivation of joy as a spiritual practice. He taught that joy is not dependent on external circumstances but is rather the natural state of the soul when it is in communion with God. This divine joy, which he called ever-new bliss, is qualitatively different from ordinary pleasure, which depends on sensory stimulation and is always temporary. Divine joy arises from within, from the depths of our being, and once contacted through deep meditation, it can be maintained regardless of external conditions. This is the secret of permanent happiness, learning to tap into the infinite reservoir of joy that exists within our own consciousness. The practice of meditation is the primary method for accessing this inner joy. When we sit in stillness and turn our attention inward, withdrawing energy from the senses and the restless mind, we begin to experience the natural bliss of our own consciousness. This is not something we create or manufacture, but rather something we uncover by removing the layers of mental restlessness and sensory distraction that normally obscure it. Yogananda compared it to the sun, which is always shining but may be hidden by clouds. The clouds of worry, desire, and mental agitation hide the sun of our inner joy, but when we disperse these clouds through meditation, the joy naturally shines forth. In addition to meditation, Yogananda taught the importance of devotion and love for God. When we cultivate a personal relationship with the divine, seeing God not as an abstract principle but as our most intimate friend, beloved, and protector, our hearts naturally overflow with love and joy. This devotional love has the power to dissolve all fear because perfect love casts out fear. When we feel ourselves held in the infinite love of God, what is there to fear? This devotional practice can take many forms: prayer, chanting, singing devotional songs, or simply talking to God throughout the day as we would to a dear friend. Service to others is another powerful practice for filling our consciousness with joy and eliminating worry. When we focus on helping others, on alleviating their suffering and contributing to their happiness, we naturally forget our own problems and anxieties. Yogananda taught that selfless service is a form of worship, a way of recognizing and serving God in all beings. Moreover, the law of karma ensures that whatever we give out returns to us multiplied. When we give love, kindness, and service, we create positive karma that brings blessings into our own lives. This understanding can help us worry less about our own needs, knowing that as we serve others, the universe will take care of us. These three fundamental teachings of Yogananda form a complete system for eliminating fear and worry while establishing ourselves in permanent happiness. By living in the present moment with faith in divine protection, by realizing our true nature as immortal souls beyond the reach of harm, and by actively filling our consciousness with divine love and joy through spiritual practice, we can transcend the mental habits that create suffering and discover the peace and happiness that are our birthright. This is not a quick fix or a temporary mood enhancement, but a fundamental transformation of consciousness that, once achieved, remains stable regardless of external circumstances. It is the fulfillment of our deepest longing, the discovery of the kingdom of heaven that, as the scriptures tell us, lies within.